One of the biggest common causes of so many conditions today, whether it be migraine headaches, whether it be irritable bowel syndrome, whether it be skin issues, hypothyroidism, and many other problems, is leaky gut syndrome. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how to overcome leaky gut syndrome using vitamins, supplements, essential oils, probiotics, and the foods to eat and the foods you got to get out of your diet right away. But first I want to tell you, what is leaky gut? Well, leaky gut is where your intestinal lining, which is the barrier in between your intestines and your bloodstream, that gets damaged. Now that lining is essentially like a fishing net, okay, with really small holes in it. It's allowing certain things to pass in like vitamins and minerals, but it's keeping out big proteins like gluten and other toxins your body has to get rid of. Well, here's what happens in leaky gut. You get a tear in your net, these holes get too big, so then undigested food particles like gluten, bad bacteria, toxins, sugar start getting into your bloodstream, and it causes inflammation because your bloodstream and your body say, whoa, this shouldn't be here, and your body sends off an inflammatory immune response to try and clean that up and fix the problem, which in turn causes inflammation. So that's essentially what leaky gut is these holes get bigger, they open, things get in the bloodstream that shouldn't. If that goes on too long over time, it can actually lead to that immune reaction, can lead to autoimmune disease where your body actually starts attacking its own tissues and cells. So it can cause Hashimoto's thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and other autoimmune-like conditions, and also especially can lead to food sensitivities. So some of the biggest symptoms or warning signs, by the way, when you hear the term leaky gut, a lot of times people start to think, oh, that's a gut issue, I don't have that. Here's the truth, you can have leaky gut syndrome and have no gut or digestive symptoms, but there are symptoms to tell you that you have leaky gut. So number one can be, yes, some digestive symptoms. If you have gas, if you have bloating, if you have acid reflux, if you have any sort of digestive disturbance, inflammatory bowel disease is a very progressive phase of leaky gut, but that can be a warning sign. Another big one is migraine headaches. Migraine headaches are almost always a warning sign you have leaky gut. Number three, food sensitivities. If you have a lot of food sensitivities where your body doesn't react well to a lot of foods, that's another big warning sign. If you have autoimmune disease, that means you have leaky gut. Medical studies have shown if you have autoimmune disease, you must always have leaky gut syndrome. Hashimoto's thyroiditis or hypothyroidism is often referred to or linked to leaky gut syndrome. Skin issues, if you're having a lot of breakouts and skin problems, that's typically caused by leaky gut. ADHD. Typically those proteins are actually, that leaky gut can actually affect the way your brain is working and thinking. Brain fog can be a sign of leaky gut. And if somebody's really young and develops leaky gut at birth or early on, that can lead to autism. Because think about this, if you have a hole in your gut lining, proteins like gluten and casein leak into the bloodstream and they recirculate, they keep affecting and causing inflammation of the brain, which keeps it from developing. That's part of what can cause autism there as well, or part of those autistic symptoms, I believe, is rooted in leaky gut syndrome and digestive issues. Because think about this, I've worked with thousands of children over the years. I put them on a gut healing diet where I remove gluten and casein from dairy and other foods, artificial sweeteners and things that can actually affect and cause gut inflammation, which you know can then affect the brain. So diet can be so huge. So as you can see, there are so many conditions that are related to leaky gut syndrome, and what we have to do is we got to heal and seal that gut lining. Step number one, you got to remove inflammatory foods. Again, it's gluten, it's casein, it's sugar, it's hydrogenated oils, it's refined and packaged foods. Get those out, and you need to consume a diet that really helps you repair your gut lining, and it's collagen. Listen to this, 90% of your gut lining is made up of collagen and other amino acids. So it's collagen, it's proline, it's glycine, it's glutamine. We've got to get your body those amino acids. So you want to drink bone broth every day, or you want to take a collagen supplement, or both, okay? You want to give your body the building blocks it needs to repair that gut lining. That's absolutely crucial. You also want to consume foods that are just easy to digest, steamed and cooked vegetables. The ideal meal, according to traditional Chinese medicine to heal up the gut lining, is going to be a crock pot soup. They called it one pot in Chinese medicine. It's where you throw in vegetables, meat, and rice. Those three things, right? Vegetables, meat, And rice, you cook it for a long time in a crock pot, and that's what you consume. In fact, that's the ideal meal for anybody with leaky gut syndrome. Now, some of you, hey, if you don't want to do rice, just do meat and vegetables. But again, rice is another thing that I think is fine for those people looking to heal their gut. So again, you want to consume vegetables, easy to digest fruits like pears and blueberries, applesauce. Those are some of the more easily digested foods. And then again, steamed vegetables, organic wild meat, wild-caught salmon, grass-fed beef, organic chicken and turkeys. Egg yolks can be easier to digest. The white can be more difficult to digest for some people, so those can all help leaky gut. Now, another thing I do want to mention is in Chinese medicine, a big part of leaky gut is caused by dampness. So internally, your body can be too hot or too cold, or too damp or too dry. So imagine dampness, like a dark basement where there's some flooding and then you try to remove the water, but mold grows, right? You know that? Like mold likes a damp environment. Same thing with candida and bad bacteria. That can keep leaky gut from healing. So you want to dry up that dampness with herbs and bitter foods. So bitter foods include arugula, artichokes, dandelion greens. Most green leafy vegetables have that bitterness to them. Dried herbs like astragalus, pau d'arco, oregano, cinnamon, those all have an element of bitterness to them. Getting more bitters in your diet or doing digestive bitters can actually really help dry up some of that dampness in your diet. And then also, the most important supplements for leaky gut syndrome in my mind, number one are probiotics. That's soil-based organism probiotic, or a probiotic that uses herbs like ginger and triphala in there. But number one supplement's probiotics. Number two is a collagen protein. Those are the two biggest. If you're just going to do two supplements for leaky gut, it's those two. Followed by the third would be, I'd say, herbal tea. Herbal tea that has pau d'arco, cinnamon, astragalus, and ginger. Those are probably the four best. So astragalus, ginger, pau d'arco, cinnamon, those herbs can really help in healing the gut. Now listen, I know I said a lot, but it's this simple. Number one, get the garbage out of your diet, the sugar, the dairy, the gluten, the refined grains. Instead, eat a lot of vegetables, organic meat, maybe some rice that's long cooked, some easy digestible fruit like pears and blueberries, and wild organic meat. Make that your diet, okay? So big tip, make that your diet. Number two, take some of the supplements I talked about, the probiotic, the collagen, and then also, hey, maybe do some of those herbal teas I mentioned. So I know I said a lot, but I'm trying to simplify it for you. That's how easy it can be. So listen, I believe you can heal from leaky gut. And again, if you're one of these people watching this, you're like, well, I got migraine headaches or food sensitivities. That is leaky gut syndrome. That's the root cause of it if you want to heal that there as well. And listen, I wrote a whole book on this topic as well. It's called Eat Dirt. You can check out. I've written other articles. Make sure to check those out. I hope you've enjoyed this video on how to heal leaky gut syndrome.